Hey there, so we're going to go through how to set up and install the Pixelcade LED panels. These particular ones are P5, which basically means it's a 5mm pitch, 5mm between each LED. And so this is the most popular ones for, say, like a 2-player full-size arcade machine. These panels fit pretty nicely for that marquee. So you can see the back of them here. So let's just make sure we have everything. So we got our 2 LED panels. We've got our controller board here. We've got 2 ribbon cables. We've got a power cable. And then we have our power supply. So this is a 5-volt, 10-amp rated power brick. And then we've got some hardware here. And then right now you just need a standard Phillips screwdriver is all you need. So let's get started. So what you want to do is, first thing first, flip these guys over like so. And you'll notice that you'll see an arrow here. So you want that pointing up. So you don't want to have it like this. You want to have it like this. So we're just going to put these side by side. Now I'm going to show this using this mount. This is optional. You don't need this. In fact, if you're doing a custom installation, you probably aren't going to need this. But we'll just show it here for the purpose of this video. This mount is on our website. You can just download it. It's an SVG file, and you can laser cut it. If you really do need this mount, you don't have access to a laser cutter, just contact us and we can hook you up. So the first thing we want to do actually is mount the controller board to this guy. So let's get out our board. So here is our controller board. So here's the board. And then the board also has an internal micro SD card, which is used to save all the imagery and animations and whatnot. So let's go ahead and take the SD card out. This is an SD card reader. If you ever need to re-image it, you can use that, but the default image is already here, so you don't need to do that. So let's take the controller board out. This is basically the brains of the whole project. This is what controls the LED panels, and all of our software goes with this board. So we're going to just pop this guy in like so. Just like that. You'll hear it click. So unclick, click. And then we're going to plug our USB cable, which is here. So this is a kind of a hard cable. Well, I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's not common. It's called a USB A to A cable. And so try not to lose it. And you can get them online, but they're just not super common. But basically, it's got the USB-A connector on each side. That makes it a little not so common. So basically, one end is going to go into the board, and then the other end is going to go into your PC. Now, also very important, you want to make sure that this is pointing to the USB direction. Actually, by default, it's on BT. So change it from BT and have the toggle switch pointing to USB. It will not work without that. And just a side note, if you ever wanted to, this is an optional thing, but this board will also support Bluetooth. So you can get any Bluetooth dongle. This doesn't come with a kit, but you can get these anywhere. They're like $5. Just pop that in, and now this is accessible via Bluetooth. And we have an app actually on Android, which you can use to send the artwork. But for the arcade use case, we don't need Bluetooth, and we're going to do everything over USB because it's faster, it's more reliable, and that's what we want to do. So just make sure, again, this is pointing to USB. We can unplug this for now. So we've got our board, and so here's the mount. And so you can see here, it's got these holes, and see where it says USB right there? That's where you want to match up this guy. So we're just going to position the board right over those holes and make sure that this USB is connected to that. And then I'm just going to get my screws here. You can actually use metal screws. I always like to use plastic ones just to be on the safe side, but there's no electrical connections on where the holes go, so you can use a metal screw too. I'm just being ultra conservative. So we'll go ahead and pop in those screws here. Okay, and then just kind of hold these down so they don't, we have to take a couple tries on this, they don't come out. And then we're just going to take these nuts and just screw them in like so. it doesn't need to be super tight. The board's not going to go anywhere. So now we've got our board mounted on our thing, and so now it's a matter of putting this on top of the panels. So we're going to put it down here, and so basically the way this is going to line up is these two guys are going to line up here. And it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but basically right there and right here, there's a little notch sticking out on the LED panels. And so you'll know that it's in because you'll have it over that notch. And then also you can just look visually at the holes here to make sure we're lined up. So we are good there. So now what I'm going to do is just take our screws. This is all metric, by the way. So these screws ship with the kit, so you don't have to worry about screws. But if you ever lose them, they're M3, so it's metric. So let's just pop these guys in. Okay, so now we've got everything mounted, and this actually is fairly sturdy. You can see it's moving a little bit there. So, but it's not bad. You know, it's doable. Like I said, you may want to do your own mount, but if you use this one, it'll suffice as well. So let's go ahead and turn it back over. Again, we always want to make sure we're going up, and then yeah. Okay, so we've got things mounted. Now it's a matter of hooking up the cables. So let's hook up the power cable. Actually, let's hook up the ribbon cables first. So basically the board, well, let's start with the long ribbon cable. So here's the long ribbon cable. And this, one end of this is going to go into our board. So here's our board here. And then the other end is going to go into the left, what these are actually called IDC. Don't ask me what IDC stands for, connector. So, and this is a 16-pin connector. So that's one connection. And then the other one is just simply from here to here. So that one we're going to use the shorter cable. And these are notched, by the way. So there's a little notch there, which is really nice because there's only one way they go in. You can't screw up. So thank goodness for the notch, because if they go in the wrong way, it definitely would not work. So cables are notched, you don't have to worry about that. So that's that. And then next we're going to hook up our power cable. And so on the power cable, you're going to see two of these like 4-pin connectors. So those are going to go here and here. Okay. And then if you look at this end, you're going to see one DC male jack and one female. So the male is going to go into the board like so. And then this one actually goes into our power supply. So now is a good time to plug in our power. Okay, we got our power plugged in. See a little green light. And then now the other end is just going to go here. Okay. Now, actually, you'll notice nothing is turned on right now because we haven't plugged in the switch. So this is the switch for the board, on-off switch here. So that's just going to go. Let me get a little closer shot here. That is just going to go right here. And this may be a little hard to go in because that screw's there, but you'll just push a little bit and it'll go. So that's the switch. So now if I turn it on, you see you got board power. And let's turn it over and see if I got anything going. Yeah, so this is actually the default animation that comes with it, which isn't terribly helpful because this isn't the resolution of our arcade thing. But we'll go ahead and change that right now, and I'll show you how to get this going with a default image that we can start do some testing. All right, looking good. Okay, so at this step, let's just clear some room here. And then what we're going to do now is hook this up to our computer and talk to this thing. So we'll take, again, our USB 8A cable. Let's take one end, plug it into the board. A little hard to do this on the camera. There we go. And the other end, we're going to go to our PC. Now, you'll notice I have a Mac, but I'm actually running VMware, so it actually is Windows. Although the software does work on Mac as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this guy. Okay. And then we want to take our cable and plug this into your PC in just your normal USB port, nothing special. I'm not going to go through all of the software instructions because we've got that all documented on the website. So you can have a look at that. And if you run into any problems, of course, just email us. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is actually what you can do is just go to Device Manager. That's always a good thing, just to make sure you have everything set up. So you can see right now I see IO ODGs, COM9, so we're good. And then, again, you would have done all of this during the setup, but I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to make sure that we have COM9 configured. That's the only real setup config that you need to do. So let's go here to Pixelcade LED Marquee. Let's go to Pixelcade settings, and let's just make sure we're on COM9, which we are. We're good. And the other thing is we want to make sure we're 128 by 32, which is 2 panels. Each panel is 64 by 32, so 2 of them together are 128 by 32. And so once we've done that, now let's send a test. Actually, first thing we need to do is launch what's called a listener. So this is a program, you can see it there, that's always running in the background. And you can see right there I've connected, so we're all good. So we're just going to minimize that. The listener always has to be running. It's basically a program that runs in the background. It's just waiting, listening for commands. The commands could come from a web browser via REST call, or they could come from one of our applications that we've written. So now I'm going to hit this thing that says LED Marquee communication test. So that will fire off a command to the listener. And let's move this aside. And if that worked, I think this is going to show 1941, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay, so you can see we're upside down. So that's the nice thing about running this, because then now you know the right orientation and how you want to have things mounted. Okay, so that's basically it. We kind of ran through how to set up everything and how to do the quick communication test. Now it's just a matter of mounting this in your installation and getting the software all configured for your particular arcade front end. Okay, thanks a lot for checking this out. And if you have any questions, just shoot us a note or do a post.